This is the Future Phenoms tracking football's rising stars. I'm Andy, and I'm joined by Nino Brown and SC Romero. We have a jam-packed episode today that we'll break down after the intro. SC, Nino, what's going on, guys?
What's good, man? Here to talk some more guys, some interesting guys. I like what we got on the ballot today. I don't know if ballot's the right word, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm gassed. Let's talk some this or that. Let's talk some hot topics, and we already kind of dibbled and dabbled in the green room a little bit, so I'm excited.
All right, let's get right into it. Our first segment here: names to watch for the 2024 college football season. SC, you're up first. Who's your first guy?
It's gonna be a wide receiver this time, and I'm gonna go Oklahoma's wide receiver Nick Anderson. He is 6'4", over 200 pounds, 63 targets with 38 receptions there, and 798 yards, about 21 yards per carry or per catch, excuse me. Very good. He finds the open in the zone coverage. He knows how to get it. I do want to see a little bit more elusiveness from him and a little bit more route running. Will he become the one? That's yet to see. I know they got some of their guys back, but I am excited to see what I saw from him, true freshman last year. So now he gets an opportunity to go out there and continue to grow. I think he's someone that was kind of under the radar, but just under 800 yards. He's someone that you want to watch. Again, that big body, 6'4". He can win that contested catch for you.
Yeah, listen, if he doesn't fix the route tree, I'm cool with the fact that he's a goddamn bloodhound for the end zone. That dude just went on a run at the end of the season where anything that if he was remotely close to the end zone and was thrown to him, he was catching it. This dude found a way to score. Got a rapport with Jackson Dart late in the season, in that bowl game as well. So that's always good to start the season off well. I think he's going to be fine. I think the main guy will be Farouk. I think he'll be the the possession guy, the guy who will get most of the targets. But I'm pretty sure Nick Anderson's going to come right back with another year of scoring touchdowns in big plays.
Yeah, 10 total touchdowns. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he has that Brian Thomas type of year, just manhandles and gets, a couple games with 2 touchdowns too.
If he adds 5 or 6 pounds in this offseason, it's a wrap.
Yep.
Nino, who's your first guy?
All right, first guy for me on the dock is going to be a guy at Arkansas State, right? Running back by the name of Jaquez Cross, 5'9", 180 pounds. I mean, Arkansas State, that's a big school, right? We all know Rayner is the guy, right? He commands the ship. He's the quarterback. But Cross in the backfield was like 3 or 4 guys. He kind of emerged after like game 2 or 3. Had 128 attempts, 716 yards, 7 touchdowns, right? But he brought that pass catching ability too. 24 receptions, 160 yards, touchdown. He counted for 28 first downs, right? 280 plus breakaway yards. 340 of the 716 came yards after contact. Listen, he was more of a zone runner, but my guy was not afraid to run between the tackles, right? I spoke with Andy about it before. If you looked at just stats, it would make him seem that he's just like a right side runner. But my man has no problem going between the tackles and then exploding out to the right. Yes, he does like the right side. He will run left without a problem, but my man will run between the tackles. He's the RB1 going into it. They're returning all of their offensive line, 80% of their offensive production. You got a high-powered, up-tempo offense. This kid is about to piggyback big years. You can about to get 1,000 yards, probably double-digit touchdowns out of Jaquez Cross. If you can get him any CFF leagues, go scoop him up now.
Yeah, he's available in mine. As soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, let me check this guy out. But first thing I had when I saw him is burners. That's the first thing I said on him. He has some burners on him. And if I'm not mistaken, in high school, he was a wide receiver. So he transitioned over to the running back. So when you see that in a running back, especially in today's game, you love to see that it's not just, he's a dual threat running back. No, he legitimately played that position, right? Yeah. So he has that IQ, has a nice route, so he can go out there and get the catches. So, I mean, big things to come from this guy, especially if he continues to improve his route tree. Of course, he's a great runner, but again, in today's game, being that dual threat type of guy like he is will go a long way, because it's not just is secondary to running back. It could be the primary, and he just ended up taking on the running back role. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's something you don't see a lot of. So that's amazing. I love that kid.
He's got that suddenness to him, right? Real easily can make a cut and go and just blow a guy right by him. So I
Right.
love the style he's got of running. I love how he can get low and get. He's patient too. He'll sit for a second and then hit the block and hit the hole and take off. So,
Yep.
SC, who's your next guy?
A guy that was also a true freshman last year, West Virginia running back, Jaheim White. A little bit undersized, but in today's game, again, that doesn't really matter. He's about 5'7", under 200 pounds, but he has some elite speed, man. This guy had 5 receptions for 125 yards, but he averaged 7.7 yards per carry. So that's something you just don't see when the ball's in his hand. He has that vision. He knows how to find the holes, and then he's gone, man. You can't catch this kid. And I think it's going to be nice to see him. He has that breakaway speed when he hits his cuts. He just does it so fluidly. He does it. It's motionless, that he's not, it's not even like, did he think about that? Nah, his body just does it, So Jaheim White, West Virginia, I'm excited to see what's next for him this second season for him.
I ain't got to say anything else about Jaheim White. I probably said it in enough pods already. This is my guy, dude. He comes in, gets the job done. He was the guy that just crept in and did it when Garrett Green was riding a hot hand. Everybody was talking Garrett Green, the quarterback. He's mobile. He can do this. Jaheim White was just plugging away, keep going. 100 yards, 85 yards, get 35 yards on the receiver. He just gets it done any way you want, and it's so smooth. Again, freshman can only go up. I love it.
Love it. Nino, who's your next guy?
I'm going to go with an IDP guy. I'm going to go defensive side of the ball here. I'm going to go guy out in UNLV, linebacker, Jackson Woodard. All right. 117 tackles last year, 55 solo. He had 3 pass breakups, 2.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and a pick. Right. He was second only to Utah State linebacker MJ. I'm going to mess his name up. Tafisa Jr. I know Andy, because you're a Utah State guy. In tackles last year, he had 52 run stops. He had 6 games of 10-plus tackles, 26 pressures. He's 6'3", 235. My man can do wonders in coverage. He can get after it. He seems to always just be around the ball, right? Even if it was like on the opposite side of the field, it's a magnet. It draws him to it. He cannot stop. I love this kid. I think you're going to see a bigger season out of him. I'm going to go with 135-plus tackles this year. My guy Woodard.
Yeah, he didn't really get much opportunity at Arkansas. I do believe that was his first 3 years in college, right? Comes out into UNLV and just boom, he goes out there. And that's something to see. People will be like, he didn't make it in the SEC. Well, he didn't get as much opportunity. And he came in right out the gate and became the leader of the UNLV defense. The coaches believe in him. He knows how to track the ball well. He had, I think it was like 55 solo tackles to that 100 or something. So definitely a linebacker you want to watch, especially the total tackles is great, right? But you've even mentioned it, those solo tackles being a little bit different because he's not going in there to assist. He's actually getting it done. So love to see it.
SC, who's your final guy?
Yeah, man. So this time around, I kind of went with just the sophomores, right? So I'm going to go IDP as well, and that's going to be safety out of Purdue, Dylan Dieneman. I probably said that wrong, but 106 total tackles, 74 of those solos, 6 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. Man, you watch his tape. I'm not even lying to you. He is outside the stadium and the ball gets thrown and then he ends up where the ball's at. That's how fast he is. No, not side by side, like outside the stadium. He's on the other side of the field, whatever you want to say. And he gets to the ball like that. You blink and he's there. Great awareness, and not only to be a pure tackler and get around and wrap him up correctly, but he also has awareness for the ball. You didn't see a lot of penalties come out, and from a true freshman, that's amazing. Because he was getting his hands on the ball, and better yet, not only just his hands. I mean, he was bringing up those interceptions, but some of his tape, he's watching the guy, he lines up to him, and then you see him just swat the ball down. Because he's aware, and it's nothing to do. He's not necessarily getting physical with the guy. Yeah, you see some a little bit there, but he's not trying to get that penalty. He's going after the ball, and that's something I think will transition very well for him. The question is, who else was on the Purdue defense? It doesn't matter. He became the leader. He became the vocal point, and being in the secondary, that's something that you love to see because he sees the entire field. So all quarterbacks watch out. Dylan Thiemann out of Purdue.
I look in the back, in the secondary, and I see this guy giving 8 to 10 yards of space. I'm like, what's going on? And then by the time the ball snapped, he's in the guy's throat. All right. It's crazy the way he can close. He low key has like sneaky eyes because he's looking at the receiver. You kind of could check on at certain angles. He's kind of like just reading the QB at the same time. And you mentioned how he can break on passes. He's got the sticky hands. I think the ceiling for this kid is through the roof. The speed is crazy. He can close with the best of them, and he's really not too bad on change of direction speed. He doesn't have to gear down too much to change direction. So I like what I see out of this kid, and I think the sky's the limit as well.
When you said the sneaky thing, I mean that's something quarterbacks have to watch out for because like you said, he has that gap between them. Quarterbacks are like, there's an open guy right there, man. You better throw some bullets then if you're gonna try to get to your receiver, because if not, I guarantee he's gonna have hands on the ball.
Yeah, it could be 6 the other way. So
exactly.
All right, Nino, who's your last guy?
Last guy for me was a dude that kind of just surprised me. I was just going through watching some games, and then this kid first Tulane just jumped out of the stadium on one of these passes. I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me just dial this in. So I watched a little bit more. Amari Thomas, UAB wide receiver. All right. I love Trent Hill for the fact that he's in college coaching. He's got this fire in him, right? This kid's 5'11", 200 pounds, had 64 targets, 53 receptions, right? Just under 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. But he had a 72% reception rate, 263 yards after contact out of the 437, right? But his ADOT was 5. So it was just giving the ball. My man made it happen. He got it done. Could play him all over the field. 55% out wide, 44% in the slot, right? And he was a rushing guy. He had 4 attempts for 40 yards, and he only started 4 games. Now, I hear you guys. You're probably like, oh, UAB, the Blazers. My man faced Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. 9 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown. And then the next week went against Tulane. Michael Pratt, they're talking about him, round 2 draft pick, 8 receptions, 99 yards, hit a longer 33. This kid gets it done. In that Tulane game, he straight out Randy Moss, the DB. Guy thought he had position on him, came up, snuck up, got behind him. Bloop, thank you. Turned around and got an extra 5-6 yards. This kid's got the juice. I said to Andy in the green room, I would have loved to see him kind of hit the portal, but they're kind of brewing something at UAB. You were playing college football fantasy. This is a guy you better be getting late, and he's a plug and play every week.
And he could possibly hit the portal next year, too, after another great season. But he broke the freshman record at UAB for 50-plus receptions there. Not to mention that, I mean, he was in the honor roll when you talk academics. I know academics doesn't get talked a lot about fantasy football, but the IQ matters. And it shows that he's dedicated, right? When you see a guy that's hitting honor roll and hitting, 4.0 GPA in college as well as being dominant on the field, that says a lot because their mindset is a little bit different, right? They're focusing on the game, but what they're bringing from the classroom to the field matters because it's all about mentality, right? And just being focused when you're going there and studying and stuff like that. So you'd love to see it. I'm excited to see what's next for him because the word that came up when I was looking at him a lot was Moss. He was Moss and Boys. So you mentioned that catch rate there. He's not necessarily. He doesn't necessarily need to gain that separation. He can, but man, he is snagging the ball over the guys and making sure, look, this is my ball and no one's taking it from me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you give it to him on the field. He just makes it happen. And if the ball is thrown away from him, somehow, some way, he finds a way to get his hand on the ball. You got Zeno back there as a young QB. I think they've got a nice connection. I think in the next year or two, this kid's going to just skyrocket.
And those are some names to know and write down for your CFF, C2C, and IDP leagues. Now, the next segment is this or that. For this, we'll be looking at a 2023 NFL rookie versus a 2024 NFL rookie. The first player that we're talking about, Sam Laporta versus Brock Bowers. SC, you're up first.
Oh man, these are some great ones. You get some very good, difficult ones to decide. So Brock Bowers is a generational talent, right? Like low key, I think he is the one of the guys in this draft class that's like we haven't seen something like him. I mean, even you have Marvin Harrison Jr., but you can comp him some guys. Yeah, Kayla, you can comp. I think Brock Bowers is one of those guys. However, Sam Laporta was the tight end 1 in fantasy football last year as a rookie. I think he's already crafted into the offense, regardless if they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sir Jameson Williams expected to break out again. But he crafted himself into that offense, and I think you can't go away from that. So I'm going to choose Sam Laporta because he was on the field. He showed it. And he wasn't the tight end 1 last year going into the draft, and he became the tight end 1 over Mayer, over Kincaid. He became the top guy, and he became a great tight end, can block, can go out there and get the routes, got some touchdowns. I'm taking Sam Laporta. However, if you can trade Sam Laporta for Brock Bowers plus, we can talk. But I'm going to take Sam Laporta over Bowers.
I think it's time we retire this word. I think that word generational needs to go away. I'm so tired. Do generational players get worse every year? Do generational players literally lose numbers in the touchdown category every year when you're supposed to be the guy, right? What makes Brock Bowers so generational if you take his film to Michael Mayer? What makes him so much generational and so much more better than Michael Mayer? They both make athletic catches, right? They both can run good routes. I think Michael Mayer might be able to block a little bit better than Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is a better runner, but because he's a better runner, that makes him generational. When do we start labeling tight ends generational? Like, I don't even understand this. He might be sitting in line half the time. A generational talent's gonna be blocking some defensive end. Like, and I'm not knocking USC. I'm just saying in general. I've heard it in the last 3 days, especially today, so much that Brock Bowers is generational. He looks like Obi Pyle. Like, he doesn't look like anything special. He's got the bangs in his like I don't get it. I don't. The kid's got talent. But to say that he's generational, the last time you said a kid was generational, he sucked for 3 years in the NFL. And Kyle Pitts, right? And yes, you could say it's a team, but I don't give a shit. If you're generational, you make it happen no matter what is around you. Now, with all that said, yes, Sam Laporta took over the tight end 1 role. But Sam Laporta couldn't sniff the numbers that Brock Bowers put up in college at all. And now you want to say, okay, it was the opportunity, and Laporta did it in the NFL. Yes. And for that reason alone, I will take Sam Laporta because Sam Laporta has done it. I know what I'm getting now. Brock Bowers is a question mark. And I will stand on this till he's not playing football anymore. I do not think that Brock Bowers is a generational talent.
He had good numbers coming out. Like as soon as he stepped on the field in college, he was doing great. And I think he hit it on money though, where the blocking isn't there as you see on some of the other tight ends. And the word generational, I think, became he was a tight end that broke out in college, which you don't see a lot of. But because of that, it was because he wasn't doing all the things your tight ends need to do, right? He was going out there and catching the passes. He wasn't necessarily doing the blocking. Whereas Sam Laporta, sure, he didn't have the track record in college, but he was doing the things that's going to get him on the field in the NFL. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see. You know, he's projected to go top 10 right now, Brock Bowers. So he goes to somewhere like LA. Are they going to have him on the blocking downs, you know, when they're running the ball? Because that's something that we know Harbaugh does, right? If they go and get someone like a Blake Corum or keep Austin Eckler. So, yeah, because Laporta did it at that next level, I think I want to take him.
If Brock Bowers played for the Florida Gators for 3 seasons, will we still saying he's generational talent?
Yeah, they mocked it up around him.
You got 5-star everywhere you look in that line. You got a 5-star. Everything's, you got big dogs around you. It's a lot easier to excel in that situation.
Next, guys, Jordan Addison versus Troy Franklin. Nino, you're up first.
Jordan Addison, no question. I'm an Oregon Ducks guy. This one, I didn't even have to blink at this one, too. I mean, Jordan Addison made Kenny Pickett. Won the Biletnikoff with a guy who sucks. Okay, Kenny Pickett sucks. He sucked at Pittsburgh. He sucks in Pittsburgh. He's not good. You ought to send him a Lambo for Christmas. All exclusive weeks vacation for everything that he did to get him in the first round. Jordan Addison it didn't matter. Yes, he had Caleb and he was in the Pac-12, but Troy Franklin's only been in the Pac-12 and he's had Bo, right? And he's got it done. Jordan Addison done it in the NFL. With JJ, still did it. JJ went away. Okay, I got your number 1 DB. I'm still going to get it done. Oh, Kirk Cousins is gone. You want to throw me Josh Dobbs? I'm still going to get it done. The kid was the kid in Pittsburgh. He was the kid at USC. He's the kid in Minnesota. He's the reason why Justin Jefferson wants the money because he knows his kid's coming up right behind him. Like, Troy Franklin, you are good. You are speedy. You get long plays. But some of those numbers are part of a very good scheming system.
Yeah, everything about this question wanted me to say Troy Franklin, man. I'm an Oregon guy, and I was like, God, Andy, why do you do this to me? Franklin has the speed, right? And I do think he's going to be a first-round guy. I think he could be at the end of the first round. If he pushes to the second, it's one of those top 10 picks in the second round. But I think he ends up that first round, and I think he's going to be a threat for your guys. However, Jordan Addison does have the better route tree there, which is nice. He's very crisp in his route running. He hit on money when Jets wasn't there. Who was the guy? It was Jordan Addison. When Jets came back, he didn't die. He was still there.
Yeah.
So that was the question all season when Jefferson went out. It was like, okay, yeah, we know Addison's the guy. This is great. Now is he going to do it when Jefferson comes back? Granted, we don't know if Jefferson was 100%. If he came back too early, whatever it may be, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, especially with rumors that, hey, they're possibly getting rid of Kirk Cousins. They just released Alex Madison. So, who are they bringing in as a running back to change how the game works? But right now, again, because he has done it and because I don't think Franklin has the same draft capital, I think it's going to be Addison this year for a USC, man. I may need to go and, check on these USC wide receivers coming out this year because we had Amon-Ra, Drake London, Jordan Addison, right? So 3 back-to-back guys that looked great and looked phenomenal. And, we may see it again this year, but I think I'd take Jordan Addison in this comparison.
4, because Michael Pittman came out the year before.
Pittman, forgot about Pittman.
To add on to this question, if Troy Franklin gets first round draft capital and goes to the Chiefs, does that change your opinion?
No.
That's where I have him mocked, but I mean, Rashee Rice came out and looked great, so I don't think Rashee Rice is just gone, as people may say that just because they get a guy in the first round, but I mean, he's going to be the compliment. I think he's going to be their deep guy, but again, the route tree wasn't there as much as Addison was. He'll make it closer for sure, and it would make my boards rise up for Franklin just because he's with Patrick Mahomes now, but I still think I want to take Jordan Addison because even as the 2, he was effective.
Jordan Addison can be the 1. I don't know if Troy Franklin can be the 1.
And that was our this or that segment. Now let's move on to our next one. 5 statements with Nino and SC. Statement number 1. Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart will throw for 3,600 passing yards and 30 touchdowns. SC, you're up first.
Man, so I got my stock up last time was Jackson Dart, right? 36 is a lot, man. That's a lot of yards. So I do love it. I think he might just have just under that. Can he get it? Sure. I think Trey Harris needs to gain a little bit better separation there. Open only 28.6% of the time there against single coverage, which is huge. So Juice Wells is there now, right? He looked great. If Juice Wells is healthy, we may see a different beast in Jackson Dart. Dart is a huge buy for me right now. 36 is a little steep. I think he's going to be just under 36. I don't know if he hits that right out, but he has improved these past couple of years. He went from 29 to just over, I think, just over 32, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he's just under 36 there.
You said Trey Harris, right? In single coverage. Now, when those single coverage statistics, how do they tell if it's, the safety's cheating or spying, right? When it's lined up, they say man coverage when it's lined up, but they don't know where the safety's at. Because who was a receiver on that team outside of Trey Harris last year? This dude was getting covered from everybody. They were throwing everything at him, and he was still eating.
Yeah.
That point aside, Jackson Dart has improved. I thought he was going to be, one of the 3 amigos that came out of USC for those QBs that were just going to stink. Daniels, Caden Slovis, and him. He's improved. He's kind of proved me wrong. But those numbers are a lot. I mean, he went from 2,900 to 3,300. I mean, the 300 more yards, I think he can hit that. That's not a problem. The touchdowns to me, that's a problem. 20, 23. He's never increased by more than 3 touchdowns. Now he needs to get over 7. Oof. I don't know. They brought in a lot of pass catches for him. That backfield is set up to be a pass catching backfield, and they have weapons all over the place. Juice Wells, Zachary Franklin is back, right? I'm going to say under. I think he goes over the yardage, but I think he goes under the touchdowns.
See, Zachary Franklin is coming back, right? Because everywhere I see he's not with the team, but he is coming back.
He's coming back. That's what it says. He stepped away from the team, but he supposedly is coming back.
Yeah, I know he's not in the draft necessarily, but that's always been a question. If you have 3 wide receivers like that, the 30 touchdowns, I think he gets 30 total touchdowns, more than that, because he's going to use his legs and get in there. But 30 passing touchdowns, I'm under that as well.
Yeah.
Statement number 2. By the end of the 2024 college football season, Georgia Tech wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr. will have 1,000 receiving yards. Nino, you're up first.
If you would have asked me this 3 days ago, I would have told you yes, 100%. But the loss of Coach Josh Crawford is going to be huge for that program. Okay, when he was at Western Kentucky, those wide receivers balled out. We saw Malachi Corey and developing him. There was another gentleman on the side of Corey, not last year, but the previous year that it also balled out with Austin Reed. I'm mistaking his name right now, but and then last year Georgia Tech receivers were really good. He had 700 yards, 6 touchdowns, 14 yards per catch. I think this is going to be a big hit for them. I think now that there's film on Singleton, teams are going to scheme him without having a coach that knows him and was able to work him in the style of play he has. I'm not saying he's going to take a hit. I just don't know if he can get over 1,000 yards. I think he's going to be right around the 850, right on the 900 yards for me.
Yeah, I actually say that too because he had 14.9 yards per catch there.
Yeah.
So where he was at based on yardage, he would have to get approximately like 19 more receptions this year. I don't necessarily see that. I see him getting maybe 10, maybe 12 or 13 more. So I do have him just under 900 as well. But the kid's nice. You know, he's not someone that you want to go underrated. And just because he doesn't hit 1,000 yards doesn't mean, oh, it's not this breakout year. Because I think he does have a great season again. But 1,000, just like with Dart for me, it's a little too steep there. I don't think he's going to hit that mark, but he's going to be under that threshold. So
yeah.
Statement number 3. By the 2024 National Early Signing Day, modern-day running back Jordan Davison will be the consensus RB1 and give off Saquon Barkley vibes. SC, you're up first.
So I was watching this tape, man, and when I saw it, Saquon didn't come to me. The first thing that came to me was Arian Foster. He has that move set. He can run vertical. You know, he has that speed. Now, he does dip his shoulders when he's coming at the impact. He does know how to get through your guys as well. But the consensus RB1, man, I have 3 guys here that I think could give him a run for the money. One is Gideon Davis, who's a Clemson commit right now at Liberty Christian. Just fast, really good hands, knows what to do on both sides, be a dual threat type of back. Michael Turner Jr. from Richland High School, elusive running back, has great contact balance, was first team averaging 8.49 yards per carry. Phenomenal, you know, and he doubled that going into his junior season with just over 1,600 yards as well. And then my last one, shout out my guys at American Heritage, Mark Fletcher, Byron Lewis. You know, this guy already has 27 different offers coming in. He's narrowed it down to his top 10, but just a great back that has the acceleration. The 2025 class right now, early looks great. Will it be Jordan Davison? Maybe. If he does have that comp to Saquon Barkley, why not? But I saw more of an Arian Foster vibe to him.
No, he's not. Because you didn't even mention the guy, the consensus one, who was going to be the one, and Harmon Berry. Like, he is the dude. His first year was over 2,000 yards and 25 plus touchdowns. He's the guy. Now, there's other guys in there that I'll talk about in a second. I do think that this kid can be him, okay? And he does have a similar. I like the Aaron Foster comp because he kind of runs a little bit upright. Foster was like straight gazelle, like straight up when he was running, but he still had that breakaway speed. My concern, that I spoke about a little bit, is it's a 3-man run, 3-headed monster in that backfield, right? But his sophomore year, he broke out, and then all of his numbers last year got cut in half. Everything, except for attempts. Attempts was only down by like 25. So like, you went from 1,200 yards to 600 yards. You went from like 12 touchdowns to 5 touchdowns on the ground. I'm a little concerned there. I'd like to see what happens here. And I know that they split it up with like the runner, the banger, the receiver. So I know there's integral parts in Matter Day's scheme. But Harmon Berry is an absolute beast of a running back, okay? My guy that I'm all in, Keelan Deere from Ole Miss, I think he's another dude. Like, he's Kendrick Reeskino with a better run scheme. Like, he's got a better running talents, but he also has those pass catching abilities. He has no problem putting that shoulder in the middle of your chest and running you over. And he can also make you miss in a phone booth. So there's a lot of guys in this class. It'd be really hard for me to see Davidson just going from the 6 or 7 spot to be the consensus one. I think, and this might be a hot take, maybe not. I think Harmon Berry's got it locked up already with a whole another 2 years to go.
Very nice. Statement number 4. True freshman quarterback Walker White will overtake Peyton Thorne before the 2024 season ends for Auburn. Nino, you're up first.
I'm going to tell you something right now. He won't overtake. It'll be his after the spring game. Peyton Thorne has been a thorn in Hugh Freeze's side from the moment he got there. Okay, Walker White is Himothy. Okay, this kid's gonna come in there in the spring game and he's gonna tell him, "Yo, my dude, hold my beer. This is my team, not yours. You came here just for a year till I was getting acclimated." He has everything you want. He's got a howitzer. He can throw the ball all over the field. He can throw off platform. He's not the most mobile guy, but he can, extend plays to keep it alive, right? He can throw it in the keyhole if you need him to, right? He can throw layered throws through zone coverage. Walker White is a guy. He's cerebral. Peyton Thorne, it's just a dude, bro. He's a jag. He's just another guy. And we've seen it last year. He struggled. He struggled all season. I think his ADOT was somewhere in the same vicinity as Graham Mertz, like 6.2 or less. Like, no, bro. Walker White will win that job before week 0 of next college football season.
Man, I can't. Yeah, I mean that's great. I was thinking to the question, say before 2024 season ends, and he jumped the gun and said, "Nah, before the season began." So, I mean, I'm not mad at that. Walker White comes in. That guy has some zip to his passes, man. He's throwing darts all around. When you talk about Thorne, beginning of season, I'm pretty sure within the first couple weeks, he didn't throw more than 20 pass attempts. Like it showed me like. It became something where it's like you just don't trust him. Like you're passing because you're forced to, not because you want to, right? So, no pun intended, but saying that Thorne, he's the thorn in the side of the offense there. I agree. I can get with Walker White being the guy beginning of the season. Will he be before the end of 2024 season? Without a doubt. Maybe they'll go out and give Thorne a shot game 1, but yeah, without a doubt, I think Walker White is the guy moving forward. He just looks good, and maybe it's just because Peyton Thorne looked horrible. So, I mean, but I think Walker White becomes that guy.
Yeah, he started out at Michigan State, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't get the ball to Jaden Reed or Keon Coleman, bro. Walk away. Walk away. You can't. They're giving you all-star weapons, and you can't get it done. Walk away, bro.
Something not on it, but transfer out of Auburn, QB Robbie Ashford going to South Carolina. That's the guy to pay attention to too, because this guy has the feet. He had 700 yards rushing as well as 1,600 yards passing. So that's a guy to watch out for.
Statement number 5. The USC wide receiving room. Deuce Robinson will overtake the room and become the wide receiver 1. SC, you're up first.
I had to go back and watch the Robinson tape, right? And I was excited, seeing him in there going in the first place. Great athlete, phenomenal. And I think he has the ability to do what you want in the pass catcher. And he actually was supposed to be the tight end. They moved him out to a wide receiver. He's just that big. He's a big threat. But, man, I still think it's Zachariah Branch. I think that's still the guy there. What he can do with the ball in his hands after the catch is simply phenomenal. A better route runner, I do believe, is Zachariah Branch as well. And I think he has a little bit more speed under his, to his legs there. So he's definitely the clear-cut wide receiver 2. And you could argue that it could be a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 1B kind of deal, 1A, 1B. But I think Zachariah Branch is the guy. Deuce Robinson, phenomenal talent, and you shouldn't sleep on him.
Do you trust Lincoln Riley? Do you trust that Blake McCree, after week 3, is still going to be their tight end? Do you really believe that? We've seen Rondé Gatson, right, was moved to tight end from wide receiver and took 11% of his snaps in tight end. I don't care what they put on paper. They can do whatever they want to do, right? By week 6, Deuce Robinson's going back to tight end because they're going to need a playmaker at the tight end position because McCree's not a playmaker. And yes, he's 6'6". So yes, it'd be great to have him in the red zone. But there's a gentleman that they brought in from Tufts, okay, at 6'2", 210, big body receiver. I know it's D3, but they went and got him. They went out and got this gentleman. I believe his name is Richardson, Jaden Richardson, 6'2", 210, 800 yards, 13 touchdowns in just 9 games. Yes, I know it's Tufts, but it's not the Pac-12 anymore. I know they're moving on. they're going to move the ball around. Whoever the QB is going to be, whether it's Moss or Maivia, they're going to move the ball around. Deuce Robinson, if Moss and Maivia are allowed to air this ball out, then yeah, Deuce Robinson could be the wide receiver one. But I think in the beginning of the season, until they get an identity, it's going to be a lot of dunk and dink. And who is the king? The kid who runs track and is just running everybody out of the stadium for USC. And that's Zachariah Branch. I think you flashed a little bit because there was a lot of talent last year. If you didn't have Rice and all these other guys on that team, Mario Williams, all these guys last year, you would have seen more of Branch. You didn't need him. They used him just to get him some reps. This year, you're gonna see him be the guy.
Yeah, it'll come down to the quarterback position, Ron, who gets them the ball. Because if they're getting them to them when they do get open, because both of them can grant that separation. Granted, Deuce Robinson will just take over, and snag over anybody because of his frame. But the quarterback is going to decide a lot. We've talked about before. I think Maivia takes it, but it'll be interesting to see that battle and how that offense does explode. I don't know if USC is, one of the top 5 teams in the Big Ten next year. We'll see.
Bonus statement. Alabama will not win more than 10 games in 2024. SC, you're up first.
I said, nah, man. I think they lose the 3 games that they're going to need to win. They're going to need to win at least one of these games to get over 10. And that's going to be against LSU, Georgia, and I think Missouri. Missouri's going to come out and ball out, So those are the 3 games that I have them losing. So if they win one of them, then yes. But I think they lose 3 games next year.
Listen, it's going to be really hard to win more than 7 when Mac is your QB1. As I don't think Jalen Milroe's there after this spring portal window, bro. I'm telling you, people aren't drinking the Caleb DeBoer Kool-Aid. And I've been saying this for since he signed there and everything started to fall apart. I do not think Caleb DeBoer makes it past Nick Saban's last recruiting class. You're going back you're going to see Alabama in like the 2000s, right before Nick got there. That's what you're about to see for about a year. I say no longer than 2. I'd be surprised if the ball lasts 2 years there. 7 wins is what they're getting. There are going to be games that they should have won that they are going to lose just because they're just not comfortable and trying to figure things out. Alabama don't have time to figure things out. Okay. They've had too much winning success that they can't afford the hiccup, especially with, these guys, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, breathing down their throat. It's not about the guy that replaced the GOAT. It's about the guy that replaced the guy trying to replace the GOAT.
What for you makes DeBoer not the coach the 2025 season?
Because I don't think he's the offensive guy. I've been saying it the whole time. Ryan Grubb's been the guru, and he's gone, right? And if it was the DeBoer system, it's a throw the ball down the field, right? Modified air raid. Jalen Milroe can't do that.
You're not doing that in the SEC.
Yeah, and that's not his game. So what are they going to do? He's going to try to plug in the guy that he went out and got at Washington and Mac. But he's a freshman. Good luck.
But so how many games do they need to win for him to keep the job in 2025? 7?
They've got to win. No, he's got to win at least 9 this year. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he does. I think it's 7. And I think next year, the heat's going to be on him. And if he loses 2 out of the first 4, gone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Those were our 5 statement segments. And now we're going to bring you some 2024 NFL rookies to think about. SC, you're up first. Who's your guy you want to talk about today?
A guy that, it's going to be impressive to see what he does at this next level. A guy that's going to be a sleeper, but Kamani Vidal, running back, back-to-back seasons, over 1,100 yards rushing, good pass catcher, 78% of his passes he's catching, 5.1 yards per carry, a bowling ball type of back, right? Kind of almost what I did see in like Jerome Ford, right, last year. But just a smaller guy that the frame may do it because he's a bulky guy, but he could run between the tackles. He could run outside. He could be your pass catching back. He can do it all, really. So I think he's a day 3 type of guy, unless he does something crazy, during his pro day and combine and stuff like that. But he's definitely someone that is going to I think rise draft boards once he actually gets into the league and people start seeing OTAs and stuff, because he's a hard worker, man. He's a go out there and grind, and I think this is someone you can acquire late like your 5th rounds of your rookie drafts. If you have those type of rookie drafts where you have 5, 6 rounds, he's going to be a guy that you definitely want on your radar.
I love Vidal. I do. 5'8" in the NFL as a running back. Deuce Vaughn didn't get no love. He got a lot of love at the combine. He got a lot of love at the pro day. Got a lot of love when he got drafted by Dallas. He ain't getting no love on the field. 5'8", I know he's a bulkier guy, but you're 5'8". When that 6'2", 235-pound linebacker is coming at him full speed in the NFL, not in the Sun Belt, I think it's going to be a whole different ball game. And for that reason alone, I think he's going to be a late 6th, 7th round and maybe even a UDFA, just because it's a huge if, to pay where you can just bring him in camp after the draft and sign him for low money.
He's definitely not a 3-down back in the NFL
Right.
just because of his size, but I definitely think he's someone that could be your change of pace. And he could get a start here and there, but and when that happens, he'll get it. But as far as the talent that he could bring, I think he's someone that he's like any day 3 pick you're really taking a shot at, right? So he's that one you want to take a shot at, that he can go out there and can explode for a big gain or two. The thing with him, if you're talking like fantasy wise, you just gotta know the right time to start him, because chances are he's going to be on your bench or something when he goes off, and then you start him and it's not going to happen again. So
yeah, it's just like in pass catcher, and he's a pass catcher. I get that, but in the NFL at 5'8", that's he's got to be a liability in passing situations. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you think he can be like a Jalen Warren?
Yes, 100%, 100%, and that's why I say like what was Jalen Warren, UDFA, right? Or was he a 7th rounder? I think it was UDFA. If I'm not
I think
mistaken.
so.
So like that's why I say 7th rounder, maybe late 6th, but anywhere in that realm, you kind of, like I said, too many non-checking of the boxes.
That doesn't help that he went to Troy too. It wasn't like a premier school, so yeah.
And their offense, all they did was run the ball. There was no passing. You know what I mean?
Right.
They had a Troy Barbary had 1,000 yards, 999, but like outside of him, they didn't really have much.
Yeah.
Nino, who's your guy you want to talk about?
I'm going to talk about a guy that I was high on early in the season, and then like I started watching a bunch of other DBs and things, and now everybody's talking about the 2 from Alabama and obviously Mitchell, right? I'm going to talk about Jalen Simpson. Okay, I really like Jalen Simpson, DB out of Auburn. 28 tackles, 16 solo, had 4 pass pickups, 4 picks, 7 run stops. You want to talk about a kid that just gets it, does not quit? Like back-to-back seasons, when targeted, quarterbacks have had a QBR of under 60. This year alone, he had like 54. Like, bro, good luck trying to complete a pass on this kid, right? He does have – the thing is he's got a little bit of Emmanuel Forbes in him without the Emmanuel Forbes, if you know what I'm saying. Like, he has that, like, he can be a playmaker, but he doesn't necessarily take it to the crib. Where Forbes, when he make that play, he was taking it to the crib. But sometimes when he makes that move, he gets burnt, and the play, goes for either a score or big yardage. But outside of that, I mean, he's a big hitter. He's got tall frame, long arms, right? He can knock down the ball. He's an ability to cover quickness underneath, so he doesn't necessarily have to play the outside. He can play in the slot. He reads the QB very well with his breaks. He can change direction and able to mirror underneath, right? He allowed under 60% reception rate. And only allowed 1 touchdown this season, 7 total over 4 years of football, bro. Like, this kid's got it. And I think round 3, 4, he's a steal.
Yeah, I like him too. I mean, he has that size too. He stands about 6'1" or so, and he's just under 180, I think.
Yeah.
But he has that size, and you hit it with his movement. He knows how to move his hips around when he's covering the guy, so he knows where he needs to be and be aggressive. I wouldn't say he's the most physical defensive back in this class, but I think he can get physical, and I think there's some good DBs in this class. Don't get me wrong, but by me saying that, I mean, there's some good DBs in this class that you said, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, you can go out there and get him, and he becomes a steal instantly. He's someone that's going to give any defensive back room, any cornerback room, a run for their money to become their guy there.
Yeah.
Now, those are some rookies to think about. Now, with rookie values, they fluctuate daily, and that leads us into our next segment, the stock exchange. Nino, you're up first.
Stock is up for my guy, the Bearcats running back, Corey Kiner. Why do I say this? We spoke about him a little bit in the past episodes. They just signed running back coach Sean Davis, who came over from Memphis. Now, if you're not familiar with Sean Davis, let me give you a little background, okay? He came over from Memphis. Memphis was ranked 28th in the country in yardage and tied for 15th in touchdowns last year. Memphis. Blake Watson didn't even get an invite to the combine, which is a disservice to him. He rushed for 1,100 yards, right? And 14 touchdowns. Total disrespect. Cincinnati's bringing back their whole entire line. All 5 starters come back, right? Kiner had 192 attempts, for almost 1,050 yards, 5 touchdowns. And I know they'll say, well, they brought some guys in. Evan Pryor was a depth piece at Ohio State. Couldn't get on the field with all the injuries and problems that they had. He couldn't get on the field. And then they bring in the gentleman from Grambling, Chance Williams, who had 800-plus yards. It's Grambling. This kid's already done it at Cincinnati. It's hard to take the kid out of the seat, right, when you ain't coming from the same style program. He's already been there. He was clicking last year. I believe this kid is about to take off now with a running backs coach that knows how to get the best out of these running backs, both rushing and receiving wise. Corey Kiner, stock up.
Yeah, I mean, I know I said Jerome Ford comp earlier, but this is Jerome Ford 2.0 for him. I mean, I think we're just going to see a great season for him, and I'm glad he did stay that extra year because he's going to go through the roof. You talk about Memphis running backs. Memphis has a history of getting some guys at NFL with some production, right? And Blake Watson, you did on the money disrespect, but you talk about Darrell Henderson, not someone that's he can be the RB1 for a team, not like out of necessarily winning that competition, but when he gets it, they're gonna be like, oh snap, he is a guy that can run for us. I think Corey kind of hits that same boat where I don't necessarily see him being the unarguably RB1, but I think he can be that for a team. You know, I think if injuries take place or, you know, whatever happens, he can go in there and step in and he can make that role happen for him and be effective in it. You can get a solid 5-6 weeks out of him in college. He's about to dominate this year.
Dude, they had Henderson, Antonio Gibson, Gainwell. Like, they've produced some NFL caliber backs, and Blake Watson is one of those guys.
Agreed.
SC, who's your stock exchange guy?
Man, so, you know, it's combine season, right? So you got some guys at Florida State that are looking great. Jared Verse, you have a Brandon Fiske. My guy is Patrick Payton. So this guy entered the transfer portal, and then he ended up saying, nah, I'm going to stay another year at FSU. He had 5 sacks as a freshman. He had 13.5 tackles for loss last season. He has the speed. The eyes haven't been on him because you have 2 guys that can possibly be in the first round this upcoming draft in Jared Verse and Brandon Fiske. And now you have Patrick Payne coming in to say, yo, look, it's my time to take over this line. I think he could do that. He's been dominant since his freshman season, making a name for himself and getting to the ball and getting behind and getting to the quarterback. I think this is a blow-up year for him.
I love it. I think him coming back, if you looked when he returned to Florida State, all these dudes, Verse put the eyeballs out, right? Mm-hmm. You had Dent, you had Cypress all saying, "Oh, big dog's back!" Like, come on home. Yeah, who's the other linebacker there that they have? He was dominant for him. He posted something up on Twitter as well. Like, we're getting the dog up front.
Yeah.
So like, the rapport he has with his team, his style of play. I mean, he's not going to match Brandon Fiske because that dude is a grown ass man, but he has some traits of Brandon Fiske where he can get in there and just bullnose some people over.
I did dive into like why he ended up retracting his entrance for the portal, but I think it made sense because he's gonna know what to do, and he learned from Fiske and, you know, Verse to say, okay, this is what we have to do, and he's already faced a lot of this competition, so It's gonna be easy money for him.
Fantastic episode, guys. SC, where can people find your work? What are you currently working on? What you got going?
Yeah, man. So at the FF Universe, you got us dropping some rookie articles. We have like 130 total coming out. Just rookie insights being updated with the combine results as well. So make sure you check that out. You can find me on CFB Nation, man. We're getting close. This is exciting. See it tomorrow happening March 5th. CFB Nation, the O is coming to you. Just a show where we talk about Oregon football. And then here soon, speaking of that, another show coming out, bringing the PPR show back coming soon. It's going to be on every other Tuesday as well. So a lot of things coming out to get us into that 2024 draft season.
And then, Nino, what are you currently working on? Where can people find you? What you got going on?
I got my hands in everything that goes on at the CFB Nation, pretty much producing, in pods and stuff, but and doing the Twitter. But over at the League Winners, I got this show with you guys, Future Phenoms. I got 2 articles I got started. I'm kind of got my hands everywhere right now, but I got 2 articles going on. How Devin Mockaby bet on himself, and he's about to hit the lottery, and why I think someone at Virginia Tech could be the next Jalen Hurts. Those are my 2 articles that I got drafted up now. I'll probably be releasing maybe one this weekend, one beginning of next week. And then I'm over on Debbie Degens. Got that show. We were talking about, the Debbie market. What's best. We just did the running backs, who's the RB1, and what you would want to do to maybe if you had one of the big dogs and you were trying to get off those guys to get some younger prospects, some packages you want to total. So that's you can find me. I'll also be helping out over with the Couch Scouts. I'll be running some of the social media stuff. So those are the 4 places I'm at.
For those of you on X, follow Nino at __ Nino Brown __. Follow SC at the PPR show. Now, we'll be back next week, but before we go, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, give us a rate and review, and we'll see you next time on Future Phenoms.